Namaskar. This is Akhilesh Bhargava. Welcome to Tit-Bits on Business and Finance with me. Due to a partial lifting up of the lockdown during the month of June, and because of that, there being better mobility in the economy, there has been an uptick in economic activity in the month of June as compared to the months of April and May, which witnessed a complete lockdown and close down of the Indian economy. The point to be seen here is whether this uptick in activity is durable and sustainable. The Economic Times reports certain indicators to show that there has been an uptick in economic activity in India in the month of June. It says that GST collections in the month of June have shot up to 91,000 crores. The figure was 62,000 crores in the month of May, it says, but the figure in the month of January was 1,10,000 crores. E-way bills, which indicate an increase in mobility, transport activity, logistics activity in the country, the number of e-way bills issued during the month of June, they went up to 40 million. The figure in the month of May was 25.4 million e-way bills, but the figure in January was 56.9 million e-way bills. Toll collections in the country have now touched to about 80% of the national average. The figure in May was just 60%. It shows a resumption of transport activity in the country. Railway freight that was carried in the month of June was to the tune of 93.2 million tons as against 82 million tons in the month of May. Tractor sales in June have gone up by 12%. Bank loans that were given in the second fortnight of May went up by 32,000 crores. Joblessness, the rate of unemployment in the country has gone down to 11%. It was a scary 23% in the months of April and May. Electricity consumption has gone up, and the PMI index, the Purchase Managers Index, which is a key indicator of economic and manufacturing activity in the country, has also gone up in the month of June. We are not surprised by this uptick in economic activity which has taken place in the month of June, because we are comparing, or we are talking of an uptick with reference to what was the position in the months of April and May, which had a total lockdown in the Indian economy. It is like comparing activity from a zero. April and May were that bad. Thus, June activity, when lockdown was partially lifted, is bound to look better, rosier, and it is bound to show that there has been a good resumption of economic activity in the country. Before we go ahead, what were the reasons why there has been an uptick in economic activity in the country in the month of June? The first, according to us, we witnessed a complete lockdown in the months of April and May. June has witnessed the pent-up demand coming up to the surface. There was a backlog of consumption that took place, and there is a limit to which you can suppress consumption or suppress demand for basic items. For example, in the month of June, the demand for fuel, which is petrol and diesel, has come back to about 88% of the normal. But then that's a basic item, and thus it has come back, it has taken an upward trajectory. Thus, in the month of June, we saw pent-up demand, a backlog of demand of 140 crore Indians now being taken up. Further, the lockdown or the uncertainty continues. That continuation has been very clear, as many states like Maharashtra have announced that there is going to be a lockdown till 31st of July. And therefore, we are witnessing a restocking of goods, not just by the household sector, but also by traders, and to a certain extent by those industries which have resumed some kind of production. The growth and activity in June was also fueled by a very strong rural demand. The rural sector has been the sunlight of India's economy at the moment. While the overall economy is expected to contract by 5% this year, as many agencies expect, the rural sector is expected to grow by 2.5%. The demand from the rural sector has been robust, not just because of two consecutive bountiful monsoons and crops that came, but also because the MSP price has been increased by the government substantially. Procurement by the government went up. The stimulus package that the government announced was largely rural centric, and because of that, outlay for the programs like Manrega had increased considerably. Thus, rural demand has been strong, it has been robust, and that has also fueled growth in the month of June. This rural demand is expected to be the bright patch of the economy during the entire year. Some of the measures that the government announced, which were part of the stimulus package, have also impacted and given an upsurge to growth in the month of June. These were the reasons why, according to us, there was an uptick in the month of June. But then let's not forget, we are comparing it and calling it an uptick with reference to what was the condition in the months of May and April. What is the larger picture that emerges here? Let's have a look at it. The larger picture as we see is that merely because June witnessed a better economic activity, that doesn't mean we have anything to gloat over or be very proud about. The reality is that Corona continues. We have seen an extension of lockdown. We have seen an extension of a close down in the economy in some way or the other. Key states like Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, West Bengal, etc. have already announced that the lockdown continues until July 31st. Until then, of course, you are not going to see any kind of a normal economic activity being resumed in the economy at large. To us, this particular situation of the month of June is an aberration. It's an aberration because you're looking at it or calling it an uptake on a very comparative basis. June is being compared with the months of May and April. And anything compared with May and April is bound to look good for the simple reason that the economy was in a complete lockdown mode in those 2 months. Thus, it is a comparative situation that we are talking. We are not talking in absolute terms when we say that June is looking good. In absolute terms, if we talk, while GST collections went up for the month of June, on a quarterly basis, they have dipped by 41%. Therefore, June is an aberration. And that raises a very key question. Is this growth on a month-to-month basis going to be sustainable? Are we going to see that growth has turned positive on a month-to-month basis such that it is durable and it will continue for the coming months and the coming quarters? We don't think that it is a durable situation that we are seeing. And why do we say so? The fact is that every agency worth its salt agrees that India is going to witness a contraction of its economy, of its GDP in the financial year 2021. That means that the contraction of the economy continues. June is just 1 month wherein some kind of an activity has started on a better footing, but the trend remains of contraction. The core sector remains weak, the industrial sector remains weak, and we are not going to see some kind of an uptick on a month-to-month basis comparatively. In absolute terms, it continues to remain weak. Further, let's look at some other figures. Bank credit in the month of May actually fell by 1.7%. There was no growth, there was a shrinkage. In other words, neither were the lenders probably, nor were they takers for loans. The core sector shrunk by 23.4% in the month of May. If you look at certain corporate sales, the sales of Mahindra and Mahindra were down by 55% in the month of June as compared to the same period last year. In the case of Hyundai, the dip in sales was the tune of 54%. And Hero Motors witnessed a dip in sales of 27% in the month of June as compared with last year. And mind you, most of the sales of Hero Motors came from the rural and semi-rural sector. And that sector has been robust and strong, as we said. Despite that, Hero Motors witnessed a dip in sale to the tune of 27%. Therefore, what we have seen in the month of June is just a comparative uptick. A very key issue to remember is that COVID is yet to peak in India, and till the time COVID has not peaked, economic activity will remain weak, it will remain uncertain. We therefore need to wait for COVID to peak before we say normal economic activity has started. At that point of time, we can then expect that growth will probably increase on a month-to-month basis. That's not happened so far. And a key point to note then becomes is, the month of June did not witness anything good for certain mother sectors that we would call them. Infrastructure did not show growth. Real estate did not show growth. The auto sector did not show growth. These are sectors which have a huge spillover effect on many other industries. They have backward linkages, they have forward linkages, and they support growth in many other industries which are attached to them. These mother sectors did not see anything good happening in the month of June. So what are those indicators which according to us will tell us that growth is now going to be durable and sustainable henceforward? The first one is when we see that GST as well as income tax collections are going up. That's not happened. At the moment, income tax collection for the month of June have gone down by 74%. The second is when we see that corporate results have now improved substantially, thus reflecting the ground reality. The third is we would like to see consistent growth in the economy for at least 3 consecutive quarters before we say that the tide has turned. And if that happens, we will see that job creation in the economy goes up. Because of job creation, the consumer demand, which remains subdued, is also going to go up, and that will give a fillip to growth. We would also say that when fresh investment starts pouring into the economy, it has actually contracted, and that continues to be a matter of worry. And as we said, mother sectors like real estate, auto and infrastructure must show some kind of a sustainable growth on a month-to-month basis. It is when we see these indicators that we would say that the tide has turned and that now India is into a path of durable, sustainable growth. Till then, whenever we see growth happening, it might just be a false start, it might be a false dawn, which is what June is expected to be. When we see the figures that are reported for the month of July, we might just notice that July has not turned out to be better than June, and that's the point that we are making here. This is Akhilesh Bhargava signing off till we meet again. Namaskar.
हमारे घरों में भी बच्चे होते हैं जो हमसे प्यार दुलार की आस करते हैं।
हमारा भी जीवन साथी है जिसको हमारे ड्यूटी से घर आने का इंतजार होता है।
हमारे घर में भी एक बूढ़ी माँ है जिनके लिए आज भी हम ही आंखों के तारे हैं।
लेकिन हम हमारे घरों में नहीं हैं। आपकी सुरक्षा में कोई कसर न रहे, इसलिए हम अपने प्रियजनों से दूर हैं।
हम में से ही कुछ तो अब इतने दूर जा चुके हैं कि वो वापस अपने घरों को लौट भी नहीं पाएंगे।
हमें गर्व है कि हमारे कंधों पे मुंबई शहर के नागरिकों की सुरक्षा की जिम्मेदारी है। हमारे जज्बे और बलिदान को व्यर्थ न जाने दे। इस संकट के समय में आप घर पे रहे, सुरक्षित रहे।
Now be the first to know about the latest updates on our new news app. Go on your Android or iOS, search for HW News Network. Download our app, choose the language you prefer to get updates in, and be up to date with the latest news.
If you like this video, please share it, and we would love to hear your comments in the comments section down here. Also, please do like our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter to get minute-to-minute news updates. For more such shows and videos, well, subscribe to our YouTube channel.